The market has been dropping through the course of this morning, June 11th, 2020. The question remains, where is this thing going to bounce? Now, we have dropped to 3057.25 thus far. We think we're going a little bit lower, but not much. And when we do, looking at this composite, looking at this market profile, daily market profile, this lower band projection gives us a barometer as to when we may want to take a long trade. Let me just get out of this background dragging. What we anticipate is going to happen here is that this line is going to drop, and it will drop to the low. And when it does, if we don't go lower right away, we should see buyers jump in, and then after that initial buying spree takes place, the market will drop again, and it'll drop right into that line, wherever that low is. And from there, then the smart buyers are going to jump in. Another reason we anticipate we're going a little bit lower, now let's look at the CFB, is right here. This is a composite market profile. And this area between 59 and 53 has been an area of low volume. We kind of refer to it as a low volume node. And we haven't dropped all the way into the lower line here. And that area of repair where we can get a little bit more volume in so that this inverted bell curve looks a bit more rounded. This trough in here is generally an indication of where the market doesn't want to go, because historically there's not been a lot of activity at that price. So I anticipate we're going to drop again, and then somewhere in that range we should begin to see some more robust buying. This may take a while, but we'll come back and we'll show you how it's developing. All right, we're just now getting into that lower area. Let's go back to our band. Still is not yet dropped, but we are getting a bit of a bounce to be expected. Looking at the premium, all right, see where the premium is, high or low right in here. So this could be a little bit more significant of a bounce, but at the same time I look at this and I say, yeah, maybe no, I don't think so. I don't think so. This has got the low on the RSX has to be much higher, much closer to the zero line. So this is continuing to go down. We'll come back. All right, so we've surpassed this area of low volume. So now the probability is increasing that we're going to get a bounce. Doubtful here, although it might be around 47. But now if we come down to this level where there's been historically greater volume, right around 39.50 or thereabouts. So that's still quite a ways down. That's another 10-point drop. But what I'm really kind of interested in seeing is this drop here. Now it has dropped finally, but it's not dropped enough. We've got to, this has got to be below the lows. And it doesn't look like there's anything that's about to happen here that's going to keep this from continuing to drop. So we're going to let it continue, and then we'll come back later. All right, and once again, we have now just slammed into 40.25. Let's go back and take a look. No, not the low. Could be a nice bounce, but still not the low. RSX has got to be higher. You've got to have some divergence. You see this pattern here, 1, 2, 3. That's what this has got to look like. And it doesn't look anything like it. Okay. Move the line down a little further. A little bit below 33. Yeah, look at how low that premium bar went. We're not there yet. So yeah, this is divergent. Oh, a big divergence here, as shown by the CFB. But that bar is much lower than this. So the size of the bar is really important, and there's just no divergence there. So yeah, this is going to continue to move down. Now, we are on a 15-second bar. Let's just take a look at a 5-second. Oh, even on a 5-second. Yeah. Not enough. There's just no divergence in here. These are two big bars. Heck of a sell-off. Okay, we just dropped into 30.32, and a couple of comments. Look at the divergence center and the CCX. Notice how it dropped below the lower band. And the CCX is at a low. And just like you see, the premium here is at a low, but the premium is a little bit divergent in this case. But look at these. These two are not. This is going to continue to come down. Now, it may not come down a whole lot more, but it'll move up. It'll come back down. We should see, and it may be happening as we speak here, the divergence center may come back down to that lower band at a lower low. That will be divergent, a higher low, and that could result in a bit of a bounce. But taking a look at the big picture here, we've now just moved below this line, and our next stop is right before we go into this low. So it's just above that. That's way down around 23. Man. So we'll come back and take a look at that in just a few minutes. Alrighty, we just dropped to 23.25. Let's reevaluate. No. Not even close. Again, that band under, if the market moves up to it, good place to short, but until it's at or below the lows of the Spoos, going long in a situation like that is a very tricky, very dangerous, really dangerous move, in spite of any kind of divergence that may be developing down here. And there is a bit, you can see, right as we came into this low, we were slightly divergent, just slightly. But whatever this does, we're not really at the low yet. This is going to go on into the afternoon. Now, as the Spoos have rallied up to the lower projected value area, this is really getting very close to a good place to take a short trade. Now, oftentimes what we'll see happen here, let's get rid of this. It'll move up all the way to the previous line around 40. Well, that's at 49. I don't think it's going to go that high. Let's look at another profile line. Yeah, it just came into this profile line. And this one, that was at 49 as well. So let's look at the bands. Yeah, that looks just about right. So we're short at 44.25. It might go a little higher. We'll come back. And of course you can see how that's working. So that was pretty good. But now the real question is, where is the low? How low can you go? Now notice what's happening on SPX. That lower band is now below the lows. Right in here, the lower band, until just a few moments ago, was lower. That's what we want to see happen here. But what can happen is that the market will start taking off on one of these other data feeds, and that can generate a stronger rally. So now we got to watch that real carefully, because that could very easily take place. This may end up being the low, and we bounce off of a higher low. We shall see. All right, so it's now 1 o'clock, and as you can see with, again, SPX, what's happening here is the pattern that we've been talking about. We're not quite there yet. The lows are still below that lower projected band, but likely, as we get closer to the close, that's going to happen unless unless we really get another big drop. But it looks like we're getting very close to the low, and that's right in this area where we were talking about before. We're hitting a new low right now as we speak, and right in here is where we're kind of thinking, yeah, this could bounce. There we go. So just at about 2050, 2025, yeah, we could see a bit more of a pronounced bounce, but all the same, the situation with the band has to take place, and it will. Another point just to keep in mind, look at that 2019 point of control. That's 100 points below where we are right now, and we're going to see that hit. That's going to happen. All right, we'll come back when we see a little bit more of a development. Dropping once again. We're getting close. All right, I'm going to move this right to that level. No way of knowing exactly where that's going to turn or whether it'll continue, other than to just watch the premium carefully. But there's a price there that's going to get hit. And let's just go back for a second, because I know we have looked at this chart before. But what we really need to do, this is no longer valid. So what we really ought to do is do a retracement between this low and that high. Okay? And that retracement puts a 50% retracement from that low to the high in June. Right there at just about 3,000. So, plenty of time for us to hit that yet today. Could be. given how much time we've got left, it would suggest this may move down very quickly. And we're still, pattern is still nowhere near what it needs to be. Now, I'm going to briefly switch over the method for tracking this. We're using this particular indicator, and that's off of a much longer share bar. I find it to be most accurate, but I just want to see what will happen when I turn this on. See if we get lower. No, we don't. It's still below that projected line. So we anticipate this will continue to drop. We're going to come back after the close and we'll recap. But just so you know, we are short. And that's our position at the moment. And we just got out just because we were coming into this band and CCX was dropping below zero. I figured it might be a good place. But we'll come back and recap. Well, here we are at the close, and now you see how that performed. Just what happened here a few moments ago is what we were expecting, that the profile lines would drop down to the level shown here. And of course, we broke right through that 3,000 mark. And now there's a better chance for the market to recover and begin to pull back. Here's the SPX. So yes, indeed, we're in a little trouble here. Look at that, came right down to the 68, or pardon me, not 68, the 50% line, pretty much as we were expecting it to, and now we're finally gaining some support once again. But that's it for today. This does not bode well for the market. I think we're going to be seeing some major moves to the downside once again. But all the same, that's all we have for today. I'm Rod Kusanen, Spooman for Risk.